The world rarely becomes silent, and when it does, most people rush to fill the space. Music, screens, voices, thoughts. Silence feels uncomfortable, not because it is empty, but because it reveals what we have been avoiding. Throughout history, the greatest thinkers did something most people fear. They stepped into silence willingly. They chose stillness. They chose solitude, not as escape, but as a way to see clearly, to not miss videos, and continue to develop yourself. Subscribe to the channel and let's get started. 1. Silence removes illusion. Noise protects illusion. As long as life is loud, we don't have to confront ourselves. We react instead of reflect, consume instead of understand. Silence removes this protection. This is why philosophers treated silence with respect. The Stoics believed clarity begins when external disturbance loses power. Buddhist traditions taught that the mind's noise creates suffering. Taoist thinkers warned that excessive action blinds natural wisdom. Silence does not create truth. It removes what is false, and that process is rarely comfortable. 2. Stillness slows thought and reveals depth. Modern life trains speed, fast opinions, fast emotions, fast conclusions. But wisdom has never been fast. Stillness slows thought enough for it to mature. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul finds refuge within itself, but only when it stops chasing external noise. Nietzsche walked alone for hours, believing great ideas need long silence to breathe. Even Aristotle taught while walking slowly, letting thought unfold instead of forcing it. A hurried mind produces reactions. A still mind produces insight. 3. Solitude is a space for honest thinking. Crowds reward performance. Solitude rewards honesty. When no one is watching, thought stops pretending. This is why meaningful philosophy rarely begins in public. It begins alone, in monasteries, in forests, in exile, both physical and internal. Solitude strips away identity borrowed from others. What remains is uncomfortable, but real. Great thinkers understood that truth does not survive constant applause. 4. Silence and emotional clarity. When life is loud, emotions blend together. Stress disguises itself as ambition. Anger hides fear. Desire masks emptiness. Stillness dissolves this confusion. In silence, emotions lose their stories. They reveal their core. This is why silence feels heavy at first. It removes distraction, not pain. But clarity is born here. The Stoics called this emotional discipline. Buddhists called it observation without attachment. Psychology now calls it awareness. Different words, same truth. 5. Loneliness versus chosen solitude. Not all solitude is the same. Loneliness is separation without meaning. Solitude is separation with purpose. Loneliness weakens. Solitude strengthens. Great thinkers did not withdraw because they hated people. They withdrew because they valued depth over noise. Solitude chosen freely restores inner order. It rebuilds a sense of self not dependent on validation. This distinction matters because silence without intention becomes isolation, but silence with intention becomes power. 6. Silence as resistance. In a world demanding constant reaction, stillness becomes defiance. To pause, to not respond immediately, to think before speaking. Silence resists manipulation. It protects the inner world from being occupied by every external demand. Ancient philosophy treated this as sovereignty of the self. If the world controls your attention, it controls your mind. Silence is how that control is broken. 7. Where meaning quietly returns. Meaning does not shout, it whispers, and only silence allows it to be heard. This is why solitude appears again and again in philosophy. Not because answers live there, but because questions become honest. In silence, false desires fade. Unnecessary fears lose weight. What remains feels simple, but serious. This simplicity is not emptiness. It is alignment. Conclusion. Stillness is not withdrawal. The world will not slow down. Noise will continue. But silence does not require permission. Stillness is not weakness. It is preparation. Solitude is not rejection of life. It is a return to it with clarity. And this is why the greatest minds in history kept returning to silence. Because in stillness, the mind remembers who it is.